The victim's grandmother, Jackie Party, was outraged by Bryce's behavior in court.
To really just to go after him from the way he's been doing things.
This case was set to go to trial in January 2022, but Bryce's defense attorney requested a competency evaluation. After more than a year, a judge ruled that Rhodes was competent and set a trial date for December 2023.
Of the evidence through testimony today is conclusive that Mr. Rhodes isn't just making the decision to not participate with his attorneys. I don't think that necessarily makes him incompetent.
Rhodes clearly had no remorse for murdering Christopher Jones, Larry Ordway, and Maurice Gordon, but how does it compare to the meltdown of Damon Kemp, whose rage escalated from a rent dispute to a double murder conviction in Daytona Beach, Florida?
God! 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 God!
19-year-old Damon Kemp from Stone Mountain, Georgia, was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and armed burglary. The victims, his roommates, both 19, were found shot and killed in a dreadful scene that left the community in disbelief.
19-year-old Damon Kemp, tonight facing 2 counts of second-degree murder. The 2 victims, both just 19, attended high school in Palm Beach County, and we're learning one of the young men, Trey Ingram, was living in Daytona Beach, while the other victim, Jordan Payton, was visiting at the time of their murders.
Are there a lot of students that live in this complex?
Yes, sir.
Are most of them BCU students?
Yes, sir.
And is it normally a place where murders happen?
No, sir.
From the moment Kemp was wheeled into court for his trial, an unsettling aura gripped the room. The once quiet young man appeared tormented, seemingly battling invisible demons. His face contorted with a mix of rage and despair as he screamed out God multiple times, startling everyone in the courtroom.
God! 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 God!
His eerie silence following the outburst was as chilling as the screams. The judge, unfazed, proceeded with the hearing, denying him bond.
I do believe that there is probable cause for the arrest, and under these circumstances, I am not able to grant you bond or any form of pretrial release.
The prosecution and defense exchanged heated arguments, with tension in the courtroom palpable. Despite the severity of his crime, Kemp's defense pleaded for leniency, pointing to his mental state. However, the heart-wrenching testimonies from the victims' families painted a picture of the irreparable damage and anguish caused by Kemp's actions.
I called him a child of God, so that he understand he had a higher purpose in this world. He used to say that he wanted to be a police officer, and that's dangerous.
In May, the gavel sealed Kemp's fate as he was found guilty, sentencing him to 3 life terms. The eerie calmness after his outbursts felt like the lull after a devastating storm. Damon Kemp's courtroom meltdown was a window into the disturbing and sometimes dark realities that unfold in courts, but how does his meltdown compare to the mind-numbing case of Kenneth Freeman?
I would this mother son.
Kenneth Freeman, a name that sent chills down Milwaukee, Wisconsin, when he brutally murdered a 33-year-old nurse practitioner.
Investigators also say Freeman hid behind a pole in a Freighter Medical College parking garage, violently attacked Bowden, drove her to a different parking garage, leaving her there bleeding under her own car. She later died.
As the courtroom doors swung open for Freeman's hearing, a tense silence hung in the air. But it didn't last long. Within minutes, Freeman erupted into a tirade of screams and curses, revealing a terrifying lack of restraint.
I do have reason to believe that competency is an issue in this case.
Well, I was going to say, this mother son.
Left with no choice, the sheriff's deputies deployed a stun gun through his ankle bracelet to subdue him, leaving the courtroom in stunned silence. Victims and their families looked on, their faces flooded with horror and disbelief at the scene unfolding before them. The gavel struck, marking the end of the hearing. Kenneth Freeman was sentenced to life in a mental institution, bringing some closure to his victims' loved ones. Each of these courtroom meltdowns reveals the raw, unfiltered emotions of those who commit unimaginable crimes. What seemed like a straightforward trial quickly turned explosive.
At this time, I will appoint the public defender to represent Mr. Roman. The charges, Mr. Roman, are attempted robbery, second degree. Hey, Mr. Roman, you need to be quiet.
As the judge presided over his case, Roman's wrath bubbled over. The courtroom fell into stunned silence as he hurled threats at the judge, vowing murder in a chilling tone that echoed through the halls of justice.
And then you're going to be removed from the courtroom. That'll be your choice. Don't talk. Go ahead. All right. You need to leave.
The audacity of Roman's threat sent shockwaves through the courtroom, a blatant display of uncontrollable rage against the very institution meant to deliver justice.
I'd like to note for the record, Mr. Roman's statement on the record that he will murder me if he sees me, and I'm going to request law enforcement take the appropriate action.
His threat earned him a new set of felony charges, adding an extra 8 months to his prison sentence. Tobias Roman's courtroom meltdown was a shocking affront to the judicial system, but how does it compare to the rage that boiled over in the case of Bryce Rhodes, a triple murder suspect in Louisville, Kentucky?
Your job is to do your job, not to worry about me. That's what I'm saying. Well, I worry about me. You worry about your.
On May 4th, 2016, Bryce Rhodes shot and killed 40-year-old Christopher Jones on the 800 block of South 41st Street. 2 weeks later, Rhodes and 2 teenage accomplices, Anwan Carter and Ja'Cory Taylor, beat, tortured, and stabbed 2 brothers to death. The bodies of 14-year-old Larry Ordway and 16-year-old Maurice Gordon were found in an abandoned lot on River Park Drive by a woman who called 911.
It looks like they're deceased and they've been burned.
Rhodes and his accomplices were arrested on May 24th after 15-year-old Carter confessed to the police. He stated that he and 18-year-old Ja'Cory Taylor were in Bryce's apartment when the murders took place.
He made Maurice on his knees and I begged for forgiveness.
Carter told the police that he saw Bryce Rhodes tie up the 2 brothers.
He tied him up. He tied him up or something. He tied his brother up. He made his brother sit in the bathroom. And like he put a toboggan over his head and he put a rag in his mouth. And then he stabbed him.
Carter described a similar scene for Maurice's brother, Larry Ordway, detailing the brutal treatment the brothers endured.
When he put the toboggan over his head, he put the toboggan over his head and put the sock in his mouth. And like, started stabbing him too.
Carter said that the brothers had witnessed Rhodes, also known as Rambo, kill a man earlier that month, which could have been a possible reason why they were killed.
Somebody just followed on the street and they said Rambo's like at the street and shot him. And Maurice, he was a getaway driver, so he was driving.
Since his arrest, Rhodes has been notorious for his disruptive and defiant behavior in court. He threatened the district court judge during a profanity-filled rant that was caught on video.
Mr. Rhodes, you can just bring him up right here.
Why y'all have me come out like this for?
I think you know why.
What?
You know exactly why. Now, listen, stop talking. Have been.
Oh my God.
Are you done?
No, I ain't done.
You've been charged in the 4th degree. I'm going to keep talking because I don't want to have to see you back here for this.
Rhodes continued with his rant, threatening to find out where the judge lived.
Where you live at? What you think at? None of that. I don't do.
So you're saying you're going to find out where I'm out?
None of that. You got family, I'll be out.
Okay.
In another hearing, Rhodes smiled and made gestures at the mother of the victims, Marie Wren.
But then another part of it is, if we have a concern, what's the alternative? Because then if we might get into a situation under the law where I'm supposed to weigh the pros and the cons. Ma'am?
Stop it. Look at me.
Ma'am!
Wren lunged at Rhodes during the hearing and had to be dragged away from the court by security.
It was a violent, split-second decision.
I flipped out. I couldn't take it no more.
Marie Wren lunged toward the man accused of stabbing her sons to death and burning their bodies.
Case of Darrell Brooks, a criminal who escalated from offenses to committing multiple murders.
How can you even call yourself a judge?
I need to make a record of something.
I need to make a record too.
You don't.
When am I gonna get the chance to do that?
All right, I need to make a record. He's being removed to the other courtroom. He is yelling at me.
On November 21st, 2021, Darrell Brooks drove an SUV through the annual Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, killing 6 people and injuring 62 others. After fleeing the ghastly crime scene, Brooks knocked on the front door of a home, claiming he was homeless and needed to use a phone to call an Uber. The kind homeowner who gave Darrell a burger and a warm jacket soon realized something was wrong. They asked him to leave their property, and shortly after, police arrived and took him into custody.
What's up? Hands up! Put your hands where I can see them! Put your hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Do it now! I don't have to. Hey, take him one of the hospitals. What did I do? Lay on your stomach. What did I do? Robert, are you on?
As the court opened its doors for Brooks's trial, the world witnessed a chilling calmness, not inspired by an ironclad defense because his defense was anything but clear. The defense witnesses he brought forth only added to the tension, which thickened with each passing moment.
What were you doing the evening of November 21st, 2021, before linking up with the alleged defendant?
Hanging with my roommate at the time at Frame Park.
And what were you and your roommate doing?
I'll object. We covered this ground during her testimony previously.
Objection. And grounds for, I object to that, and grounds for the objection on behalf of the state.
But as the trial progressed, the calm surface withered. Brooks's agitation surfaced as he scrambled for documents during a heated moment in court. His self-representation did not help his case in the least.
We're not going to move past this, seeing as how you took an oath to protect the Constitution. I have your oath. I have a copy of your oath right here. The oath that you took, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks, I'd like to continue with testimony. We have witnesses waiting for you. Please call your next witness.
The oath that you swore to protect the Constitution, which you are now not doing.
Mr. Brooks,
so you're going
call your
against
next
your
witness,
sworn
please.
oath. You're going against your sworn oath.
I will make the record when we get back. I will step off, but Mr. Brooks, you're being taken to the next
Mr.
courtroom.
Brooks, don't try to address me
Thank
like
you.
that, like we cool. You don't have no integrity. How can you even call yourself a judge? Making tacit agreements, being biased, judicial misconduct.
Victims of Brooks's horrible crimes came in numbers to share their heartbreaking stories and express their utter revulsion at his continued existence.
On November 21st, you killed my mother. And in this courtroom, I watched you run her down and her broken body slide across the concrete. This woman loved and she was loved. You ran her down like she was nothing. And since that day, you have shown no remorse. You'd offered no explanation for your atrocities. It offends me that you're sitting here breathing while she is not. You are a monster. You deserve contempt and death.
My name is Chris Owen, and I am the plaintiff. I'm here on behalf of another plaintiff, my mother, Leanna Joy Owen. The reason none of the witnesses saw her in this courtroom is because she was executed by a killing offender. Now my dad has nightmares of her body flying through the air and shattering against concrete. Yeah, shake your head. Shake your head. You know, because that is what you took from me. And there's nothing this court can do that would provide justice in my eyes. So all I ask is that you rot, and you rot slow.
The heat was on, and the calm charade soon unraveled as the jury's verdict resounded through the courtroom guilty on all 76 counts. The once stoic mask shattered as Brooks's head sank into his hands.
All right, I will read each one into the record. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 6 of the information, dated today's date, signed by the foreperson. Did the defendant commit first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Answer, yes.
Now, as Brooks faces the consequences of his actions, how does his epic courtroom meltdown compare to that of Tobias Roman, whose fury escalated from alleged stalking to making death threats against a judge?
You get one more chance and then you're going to be removed from the courtroom. And that'll be your choice.
Don't talk. Go ahead.
You're in. All right. You need to leave.
I'll murder you when I see you.
In Bakersfield, as well as the profound impact on the victims and their families. Whether driven by rage, remorse, or mental instability, these moments of chaos serve as a haunting reminder of the dark undercurrents that can surface in the pursuit of justice. Thank you for joining us in exploring these chilling cases. Until next time, stay safe and aware. Joseph McEnroe, a triple homicide convict from Washington State, committed a heinous crime on Christmas Eve in 2007. Along with his then-girlfriend Michelle Anderson, he decided to murder 6 members of her family, including 2 children. This horrific act sent a wave of paralyzing fear through the community of Carnation, Washington. The 911 call reporting the incident described one of the most gruesome murder scenes in the country, leaving a lasting impact on all who heard it.
911?
There's been a murder. There's 3 people dead that I can see right now.
Inside?
I just came up. She works with me.
Inside the house?
Yes.
What do you see?
There's a baby and a man and a woman, and she's my best friend.
In court, a tense atmosphere enveloped the room as every eye was fixed on McEnroe. He faced a grueling cross-examination, yet remained cold and unbothered throughout most of the trial.
So I moved quickly forward into the, down the hall and into the, no, I'm ready, down the hall, into the kitchen. And she comes around from the other end of the kitchen.
You said you moved forward, but what is forward? Is this from right to left? But again, you've got a point here, no bullets have been fired, right? Do you recall what was going through your head as you pulled the trigger and shot the gun at Wayne?
Nothing. Just nothing.
But the facade crumbled during his sentencing trial. His recounting of the gruesome murders triggered an unexpected meltdown, shedding a haunting light on the dark abyss within.
We're going to talk about what happened on December 24th, okay?
Yes.
Tell us now, first of all, in that last month, 4 weeks, you're up there at the trailer. What were you doing during those 4 weeks?
Is it to bait a trap? No, it's because we can't just leave these dead people here, okay? So I went and moved Judy first. I put a bag over her head because I couldn't look at her because of the emptiness, well, she should be.
Harshly condemning McEnroe's cowardly act, the presiding judge will now deliver the sentence.
In a matter of moments, you became their judge, jury, and executioner. They were defenseless before you as you wielded your firearm. There was no opportunity for them to save themselves, to obtain a reprieve, or to save each other. They were cowardly ambushed on Christmas Eve, a time when they expected nothing but joy and goodwill. Although your life has been spared, Mr. McEnroe, this court now sentences you to the harshest sentence otherwise available under the law. Life imprisonment without the possibility of release or parole on count 1 for the murder of Wayne Anderson. Life imprisonment without the possibility of release or parole on count 2 for the murder of Judy Anderson. Life imprisonment without the possibility of release or parole on count 3 for the murder of Scott Anderson. Life imprisonment without the possibility of release or parole on count 4 for the murder of Erica Anderson. Life imprisonment without the possibility of release or parole on count 5 for the murder of Olivia Anderson, and life imprisonment without the possibility of release or parole on count 6 for the murder of Nathan Anderson.
Despite receiving a life sentence, McEnroe, showing no signs of remorse, is appealing both the sentence and the verdict. His courtroom meltdown revealed the emotional turmoil of a ruthless killer. But how does this compare to other shocking courtroom scenes, like in the